Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night, so that means it's time for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine's Tuesday Night Tune-Up. And we're in Hot Springs, Arkansas tonight. And we've got with us down on this end, sitting next to the co-host Heath Tate, we've got modified driver Tyson Keeney. We've got Keaton Atkinson, and we've got Tanner Barnhart, and Ranger, the neighbor's dog, has come over to be with us tonight. And we've got an exciting program in store for tonight. So we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas, one or a couple right here in the Hot Springs area. We want to thank Kevin Rogers over at KR Performance Fuels. We want job Weston Petroleum for helping sponsor tonight, and shop. So thank everybody that helps bring the show to you on Tuesday night. And speaking of Weston Petroleum and Jimbo Freeman, we'll kick it over to Heath Tate for the latest and breaking news brought to you by Weston Petroleum Company.
Rain again. It seems like every weekend it's rain. They got to race at Diamond Park this weekend.
Any idea who won the modified feature?
Some Keaton Atkinson.
We'd try to get him on the show.
Yeah, probably someone like that won that modified feature. And I think that was the name. No, that was a good run, Keaton.
Thank you.
Other than that, I think everybody's tired of the rain on the weekend. It just seems every weekend when it gets ready for racing, and this weekend's not looking a whole heck of a lot better, I don't think.
Well, it's Memorial Day weekend. That generally means a few good racing events, and hopefully we get those in. I want to step in here just a second. I got to attend an event Saturday.
You did.
Like I said, you did too. I got invited down to Stuttgart, Arkansas, and got invited to the birthday party down there. The world famous drag racer, Watermelon Farmer. It was fun being down there with those guys, and a lot of fun there. Of course, you got invited by Coach Dave Van Horn up to the baseball game last Saturday.
When was the Hogs play?
But anyway, a lot of great stories down there last Saturday. A lot of well-known stock and super stock racers down there. So that was a big event. What about coming up this weekend?
Coming up this weekend, looks like we got rain.
You're a broken record.
It's a common occurrence.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like every weekend that's all we can say is rain. But Ranger.
Appreciate again Ranger coming by. Well, if you've got nothing else better than the weather forecast,
we're just ready for the rain to get out of here. That way we can start racing every weekend, every Friday and Saturday night, and not have to worry about that. It just seems like we haven't been able to get in a full weekend of Friday, Saturday night racing in a while.
Well, hopefully the weather will clear up, and the news part of this segment will
be over with.
Will increase with with better news. So thank you, Heath, with the Weston Petroleum latest and breaking racing news. So we'll get right into tonight's show. Like I said, we are here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and for the first time we've been out, we want to thank everybody for inviting us down here tonight. We were a little taken back on the way in tonight, all the people that were gathered along Central Avenue, welcomed us into Hot Springs, all the crowd that was out there. Very, very touching. But let's get right into tonight's show, if you don't care. And who do you want to start with tonight?
Well, let's just start with Tyson here.
He's right in
He's right next to me.
Now, you know the thing about Heath, he asks a lot of questions other motorsports journalists are afraid to ask, so y'all be.
I'm gonna take it easy on him. He's just getting started at all this racing stuff. Now Tyson's getting started. And the way we always start this, we kind of get in here and say, hey, what made you decide to start racing? How did you get involved in racing?
Well, initially, when I was from the time I was born to about 4 years old, my father drove a modified, and I kind of grew up at the dirt track and watching him race, and eventually, once we got big enough, we got into racing dirt bikes, and he had done that all his life, and his father had done it, and it's just kind of what he knew, and he put me on a bike, and we kind of took off with that, and I raced till I was probably 12 or 13, and won a state championship in our winter series. Ran down in Texas quite a bit. Just kind of anything competitive, like just we ran motorcycles, and then I got out of that. Played a lot of football. Just sticking with competitive stuff, bowling, anything I could do to really fuel that. And
I'm gonna say something real quick because you said bowling.
Uh-oh.
And no, and but Keaton was telling me about him and Kevin, KR, bowling a lot, but y'all won't let. Tyson go bowl with y'all, and y'all got this little competitive game going, but he don't get to play.
Right. Well, like every other week, KR will run, and he texts me every time he's gonna run and say, "Hey, good morning. It's time to lose all your money," and he'll show up, and we'll go bowling, half price night or whatever, and we can barely get over 100 really. And Tyson shows up, and he's won 2 state championships bowling, so he bowls right at a 250 or 260, something like that, and I can't even count that high. So
Well, that's the reason I was saying that, because he's talking about being competitive in bowling. He's won his couple.
Somehow I can see Kevin Rogers making the rules to where
He can't bowl.
he does. I can see that.
But anyway, go ahead. I just had to.
So my father bought a car about 3 years ago, and he just kind of ran it as he could. With owning a business and everything, it uses up a lot of your time. And as when he could get away and he could go work on his car and go to the racetrack, I was right there with him, and just kind of what we grew up doing. And I started messing with him about hey, when are you gonna let me drive that thing? And it came off-season time, and he looked at me and he said, if you want to drive it, you're going to come out here and you're going to help me work on it. And so we started it last year, and we got our feet wet with it and got to where we could run 20 laps without spinning out. And here we are running best finish at I-30, which is, for me, I felt really good about it. I ran 8th a couple weeks ago, and was running with some really, really good talent there, and just loving every minute of it. So yeah, it's fun. It feels the competitive drive. I mean, we're all like family. Me, Keaton, Tanner park with each other every week, and if somebody tears something up and somebody else has got it, we're gonna give it to them. And it's just a big family. And Keaton's grandparents, they're nice enough to allow me to be in their shop this year, and teaching me a lot and helping me get faster. And I'm just very thankful.
he only likes it because my nana cooks.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to say that I had never formally met his grandfather until we got here tonight, but I knew of him, and know his reputation, and you're in very, very good and capable hands here. So like I said, I hadn't met him until tonight, but always respected the work and everything on the cars and everything that he put out. So you're in very capable hands.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So make the best of it.
Yes, sir. I will.
So he had told me that you were gonna be doing the show, and I hadn't met you either, but I knew you had made the trip up to Batesville a couple of times this year, And, you said you had some pretty tough luck up there, but I wanted to compliment you on, on getting around the track up there like you have. So,
Yes, sir.
Just the fact that you're starting out will, make the trip up there and get out there and compete with those guys that, that's, those guys up there, they're just the biggest part of professional modified drivers.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's not an easy track to go jump on and start racing, and especially when you get to racing, like Bill said, with those guys up there that are racing on a day-to-day basis,
Oh yeah.
and have raced up there all their life.
But it just says a lot about your want to, the
Yes.
fact that you make that trip up there is, like you have this year.
Yes, sir.
And we applaud you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, Batesville is probably one of my favorite tracks. I love I-30 Speedway also, and I ran Texarkana a lot last year, and I enjoy that place. But I feel like Batesville kind of suits my driving style a little bit more. I drive my car straight, and it's a track that you kind of got to drive the car straight and hit your marks, and it makes you a lot better in that aspect. And of course, you're racing with Jeff Taylor and Peyton Taylor and all those guys, and it's just those guys are going to make you better in the long run whenever you're running with better people. So I really enjoy going up there, and it's a very, very good time for me up there. I've got friends that are up there, and I just enjoy it.
Well, good. We hope you keep making the trip up
Yes, sir.
when you can, and the same goes for you too. But no, you're finding your way up there, and proud of you for
Thank you.
like I said, coming up there and competing and learning the facility, and just says a lot. It says a lot.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
And then we'll move over to Keaton.
This is where it's really going to get
Now,
tough and interesting.
Keaton Atkinson for a minute, and same question with you as far as getting involved in racing and how that come about. We got a pretty good idea, but everybody else out here don't. So
Yeah, honestly, 13 years old, and I loved racing my whole life, really, NASCAR, and I could name anything ever since I was, I could walk, and I played too much video games, really. So we bought a go-kart for $500 and got it in here. It was a 1986 Margay road course asphalt kart, actually, and we
straight rail car.
yes, it was a straight rail. And we built an engine for it, and right off the bat, we were pretty good. I won my first ever heat race, and I thought that was pretty cool. And the feature, I actually spun out twice and had to leave the racetrack. And of course, I was a bad sport and crying and all that, throwing a fit. And I had a tough time trying to become a good sport. And I got straightened out there, and then I raced go-karts for about 3 years nonstop, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all around Arkansas wherever we could. And we ended up getting a mini sprint. My dad bought me a mini sprint, and I raced it twice and didn't really care for it, and kind of posted it for sale and was trying to, I wanted a modified, and I lucked into some nice people out of Texas. They came down and they actually traded pretty much straight across their modified for my mini sprint. And it was a 99 Dirt Works, and maybe a little older, and it kind of took off from there. My dad helped get a newer car shortly after that one, and then I lucked into getting this brand new Hoffman car. So that's pretty much where we're at now.
So how's this season? I mean, this is heat tape, like I see this wet weather-related season. How's it been to you so far?
It's been okay. We ran Plummerville. I think that was my first night out, and run third there, and worked on my stuff a little bit, and showed up to Little Rock there opening night, and got up there and started battling for the lead with Curtis Cook, and I actually passed Curtis Cook for the first time in my career.
That's a big accomplishment in itself.
That was a big deal to me, and I kind of made a little contact with him, and we raced each other pretty hard again. I got back by him, and he got back by me, and I was going to run second, and I ended up knocking the right front tire off on the last lap. So that kind of got thrown out the window. But after that, I went on a second, a third, 2 more seconds, then the lost 40 night. That was a pretty cool night. Started 7th and won at Little Rock. That's my second career win there, and ran there 2 weeks ago, I guess it was again, and picked up the hard charger. Started 14th and run 5th. So
To do that at I-30 Speedway is
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this,
anytime you pick up the hard charger award at I-30 Speedway, you've had a good night.
and this is my 5th full year running there. It's crazy to think that already, but I've only won 2 features there in 5 years. It's a very humbling place, and everybody up there is capable of winning the feature that night. And so you got to have lady luck on your side, and you got to have a really good race car and crew guys that'll have it on point for you, and the driver's got to be pretty good too. So.
Last week we had Peyton on here visiting with us, and of course I know he come up to you after the race and it was a good race and all that. Anyway, he was telling me last week that Keaton's he's gonna be a driver. He's gonna do well. So, and that's
That's a big deal to me. I mean, Peyton Taylor saying that. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. He, of course, he's always been. If I needed anything, I know I could holler at him, and whatever he had, he would do for me. And he's one of those guys that I've looked up to ever since I started racing modifieds. And like, man, that'd be cool to race with that guy someday. And he actually hit his kill switch that night leading, and I got by him when that happened. And he come back to 3rd, but. Luckily, we didn't have no cautions, so I didn't have to race him.
So touch a little bit on the go-kart racing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you got to, cut your teeth at in racing. So touch a little bit about the.
Yeah, we, man.
I mean, because a lot of people out there don't understand or don't realize, and a lot of people do, is a lot of these racers this day and time, and even years ago, a lot of them start on a kart. I mean, even NASCAR guys, a lot of them started on a kart. A lot of these modified guys started on a kart. So.
Well, I was fortunate enough to get the right people helping right away. My grandpa's been in racing for
you certainly had the right people
a long time, and
so
they funded it quite a bit and kind of got me in the right position and got it going. And he is a very well-known engine builder in the state, and really just finishing races, man. We would race 3 to 4 times a week, and I would have 2 carts, and same with my little sister. We would take 8 carts to a track in our trailer, and pretty much most of the time, 4 of the carts were bringing home first place hardware. And man, I've won the King of the Ring up there at Little Rock. I've won the 2019 Open Kart Nationals up in Wichita Falls, Texas, in winged outlaw karts. Just was very fortunate to have so many good people helping me out.
And I want to say something about kart racing that a lot of people really don't understand, and Doug over there will back me up on this. There's as much work to getting that kart ready every week as there is this thing right here.
Man,
if you're going to compete and do it right, you're probably going to work harder on that kart than you're going to do this car right here.
Yeah, I mean, scaling every week and getting tires ready and engine maintenance. I mean, we would have 8 to 10 karts in here. And we would be changing the oil on every single one every single week, and taking off the clutches and servicing them, and really just making sure we didn't have any parts failures. If we could finish a race most of the time, we would be running pretty good. So we just knew we had to finish races.
How much do you think what you learned driving a kart has helped you as you advance to a modified?
You go around a circle, and it was a big difference. Like I went from this go-kart to the modified, and my worst problem right away, I'd get to the corner and I'd sling it like a dirt cart with grooves, and they kept telling me like, you can't do that. And still, even now, like I'll catch myself, I'll get to the corner and I'll sling it. And with these, you really have to drive them in. You know, they drive hard off the right front, so the harder you drive them in, it seems like the better they drive. So,
But at the same time, there's a lot to be learned from kart racing, and because one, like you said, the aspect of preparation during the week will get you to the point that you help you decide if this is something that you really want to do,
right.
without really breaking the bank. But you know, and we encourage people all the time that want to get into motorsports. You know, don't skip the kart. Don't, because there's a lot to be learned there. It's two different animals, but in the grand scheme of thing, a kart is a race vehicle.
Yeah, and I mean I obviously wouldn't have started if it wasn't for go-karts, and honestly, I probably needed that step. Like Ashton Wilkie, that's where he cut his teeth, you know. I mean, just Landon Crawley, Kirkendall, like there's so many people in this area that probably cut their teeth on go-karts.
And I will say this from looking at the sport on the outside and looking in, I can always tell when most of the time when I watch one of you guys out there on the track and in this car or someone talking, I can generally pick out somebody that's got some kart experience versus those that don't. So I think the kart is a great starting point.
We were really good in go-karts, and I was honestly a horrible sport.
You were telling us that.
Yeah, and it's, you know, something would happen, and I'd get to throwing my hands up, and he would walk out on the racetrack while we were racing, and he'd tell me, you know, get off the racetrack. Well, SDKS back in 2013, I was 14 years old, and it was kind of muddy that day, and I started last in the heat race, and we were grumpy. We stayed up real late the night before trying to get go-karts ready, and I pulled off the racetrack in the heat race, and boy, was that the wrong decision. We got in the pits, and you know, he was pretty nice about it. You know, why'd you pull off, and that kind of stuff. He took my gloves that I was wearing that day. He cut the thumb out of this one and the thumb out and the pointer finger out of that one, and he said, "Get in your cart now." I said, "Okay," and I sat in it, and he said, "Tear off." I said, "All right." He's like, "Can you tear them off now?" Because that was my excuse why I left. I couldn't pull tear-offs, and I went 14th to win it that day in a mod class. So there was a grown man in there. I actually got to Jason Wilkie, and I made him spin out pretty much. I pressured him so much I made him spin out, and then you know it would get to the point where I'd do the same thing, throw my hands up, and he'd say, "All right, go home, you're going to write sentences. I will not look like a human goalpost while driving my cart." 250 of them, we're stapling them in the trailer. When somebody walks in, they're going to ask about them, you're going to tell them. I said, okay.
And I want to compliment him for that.
Absolutely.
Because you see so many parents these days in motorsports that have youth, and I'm calling y'all youth because you're obviously a little bit younger than I am, that act as worse or, you know, than their kids, and I really want to compliment Doug over there for bringing you along the way that he has. That's just something you don't see a lot.
And that helped me a lot too. Back then I didn't think it was helping me, you know, stupid sentences, like what's that gonna do? And boy, it did a lot. They definitely did a good job, and that's where I've kind of felt like I've gotten some of my sportsmanship now. So
well, good. I want to compliment him on that. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah. He was really nice about it every time too. Just got to point that out again. So
I understand the nice part.
Yeah.
Point well taken.
Yes,
each lesson,
yes.
right?
Right, and it was probably deserved, honestly. So
It sounded like it.
it was, yeah.
But he found the proper way to address the issues.
Right.
You know, he's a problem solver.
Yes, that's what he is for sure. So.
Moving from Keaton over to Tanner.
Before you get into Tanner, you know, I just want to say something. You know, obviously two guys talked about their experience with families, and it had to be tough on Tanner to get started racing, not having a, racing related family
That's
to
true.
back him up.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, go ahead, Heath. I just had to say that.
Well, I mean, like y'all, everybody here knows, but I guess not everybody out there. But my dad was a very, very well-known racer back in his day, and I guess that was
Well, go ahead and say his name,
Donnie Barnhart.
because he'll be disappointed if you don't.
Yeah, he will. But so he started. I think it was late '80s is when he started, and he started out in the hobby stock. And I won't ever forget it. His dad was very hard on him, and I see it in him sometimes, especially when racing and I work for him too, so that doesn't help a lot. But
Well, careful what you say.
yeah, I guarantee it. But he's hard on me, which is very good, but I also learned a ton from him. But like I said, he started early '90s, late '80s. I don't really know the exact date, but he moved up to a modified, and then eventually got in a late model, which was like a B class or something they called it back then.
It was a limited late model.
Yeah, the limited late model out in I-30 area, and BB is what he ran every weekend. And then he started traveling a little bit, and then became full-time. I think he was full-time for 10 years, and ended up being the top 10 in the nation in it was 99 and 2000. And that's pretty cool. I always look at that plaque when I see it. But
He's a very, very talented race
yes,
car driver.
very. Anything he gets in, I've never seen him not be able to steer anything that he gets in. But he got back in a car, or he got out of a car. I think he sold out of everything. It was 2004 when he got rid of his last car, and ended up driving another car in 2005 a couple times, and then 2006 was his last race because he had kids. My older sister, she was born in 2001, and then me in 2002, and then we had another younger sister in 06. And he got back in a car, I want to say it's going to be 4 years ago up there at the very first race for Hope. He got in the car up there. It was Davis. Golly. Seth Davis drove the car. But he drove that car up there, and he got the itch for it again. That's 100% true. And he got him a car that off season, bought a car from Mark Ellis. And he went and ran Plummerville before they shut it down for that year and a half or whatever it was. And he ran there weekly. And I always asked, well, Dad, when am I going to get the car? When am I going to get the car? And he kept telling me, keep working on it and showing interest, and you'll finally get in it. And I finally got in it, and the guy was very nice up there at Plummerville and let me get about 20 laps every night. We'd go up there after the races. And that was the hardest thing to drive. Getting in that thing, you would think it'd be wide open out there, and it is the complete opposite, especially the old Plummerville when it was slick. God, that was the hardest thing to drive for me. And I won't ever forget it. I acted like I was going to do a start coming off a Ford up there, like the second time I was in it, and broke the flywheel and snapped the flywheel in like 30 different pieces. And I had a piece lodged in the racetrack about 2 foot. Scared me. I stayed out of it for a little while, kind of. Yeah, I'll just say it scared me. And we got in a car, we got this car that I have that's a 16 GRT. We got it last year, or no, 3 years ago. And Dallas Everett was supposed to drive it for the Race for Hope. And he drove it the week before the Race for Hope up there, and then ended up having something come up and he couldn't drive it. Well, I was told when I was working one day that it was Dallas's car and we were just storing it for him. So I kind of believed it, but I've been getting told that I was getting a car there for a little while. And Dallas never came and picked his car up, so I was, Dad, why is he leaving that car out here? Well, son, I guess I can't keep him that much longer. That's your car. And so we took off
Good
like
old
that.
Dallas.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
The 0XA.
Yep, the 0X. Had skulls all over it. Downey didn't like that one too much. He made me rip that wrap off. We ran it with that
Did you
wrap.
come up with that?
No, that was from the previous owner. We bought that car out of St. Louis, and him and a guy that works for us went up there one day. But I drove that car I think twice, 3 years ago, and stayed at the back, just didn't really know what I was doing, getting out there trying to get laps. And then Plummerville shut down, so I wasn't able to get more laps after the races anymore. And so we started going to I-30, and it was IMCA sanctioned rather than the open class at Plummerville. And got in the car a little bit last year, and I think we ended up running 9 or 10 times, and just real hard it was. I mean, my thing, I kind of regret jumping straight to a mod sometimes, and then sometimes I don't, because the class we have, any track you go to with the modified, you have competition out the roof. Like he was saying,
Yeah.
anybody can win the feature that night. If you've got a good car and your head
Well,
is on
me or
it,
Tate couldn't. No.
I hear Kevin Rogers. I had to bring that down. I hear he can win in them, but I don't know.
Kevin make the rules where Tyson couldn't be in it.
But no, we got in the car last year and had fun with it. So we've been running a lot this year. I think I've got 8 races already this year, and the first race of the year was the same night as Keaton's, and he put the old whooping on me. I tell you what, I saw nothing but that rear quarter, or that rear piece back there, the whole race. That's all I saw. Heat race and feature. We started right behind him in the heat race, and Drake finished right in front of us, and then it was Keaton, me, and then we started on the inside row of the feature, and they took off. Dallas Everett followed in behind Drake, and I followed Keaton the whole race, and that was my best finish so far, was 4th. And then, or no, I take that back. Before that, I-30 last year, I finished 3rd. Should have had 2nd, but I had a,
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I guarantee you, I had a little, I guess I probably shouldn't say it.
Me and you were just racing
Tire
too
plugs.
hard.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay, well, I ended up having 5 tire plugs in the left front during the feature. And so I had a left front flat during the feature. And good thing we were
Donnie, buy this boy some tires if you would this year.
It was a brand new tire, and we poked a hole in it
okay.
the week before.
Okay.
And I had that thing on there for 2 laps, and I wasn't going to let it go to waste. So we plugged that thing up. That was the good old C8 special. There you go, Timmy. We did that, and it was a good thing I was on the U tires that night, I tell you what. And I don't think I could have pushed them U tires anymore. But JT ended up getting around me, coming to the checkered flag, and I finished 3rd that night. And but then I had that 4th against them this year. I-30, I just had the toughest luck there. I'll run so good, I'll either get in my head and spin out, or I'll get in a crash. Like we were running, I think I was running 5th. No, I was running 6th at the topless, and a car spun in front of me and just had nowhere to go. I was committed, and got my right rear quarter panel and got DQ'd for, they didn't want my stuff to come off, which I completely understand. My right rear quarter panel was hanging on by a couple bolts, and I had to leave for that. And then
He did win his heat race that night.
yeah,
The topless night.
yeah, Keaton
He
wasn't
made-
too happy about that one.
I run 2nd to him. I did. Yep.
Yeah, and like Keaton was saying, being able to even run with these guys, like him and Curtis Cook. Curtis, I remember seeing him in the video. I didn't even know he was in the race, but
Whoa.
no, I ain't gonna say that much. I ain't gonna say that. I don't look at the lineups much. They
Curtis,
come to
don't call in tomorrow.
They normally tell me where I'm starting at, and I don't know, but me and Keeter, we just can't get away from each other. I don't care where we go, we're starting right there next to each other. And feature, heat race, nothing, anything. But I had Keeter. Keeter gave me a little bump coming to the checkered flag, and
He had a brand new left rear wheel on, and I ruined it for him. So
brand new.
What are friends for?
took care of that.
Yeah.
I had a very good view of that from the infield and tech.
Yeah.
That was a good race. They both were racing side by side, and Keaton just didn't want them finishing in front of him, I guess, coming to the checker.
Yeah, Keaton said he saw Curtis with 2 to go or something like that, and he said he was content with 2nd, but I don't think that ended up happening coming to the checker. He changed his mind there.
Well, when you got guys like that breathing down your neck, you gotta take your shots when you can. So
I guarantee you.
You know, and the good thing about that, y'all go out and race hard every week and sit here and you know, sometimes tempers flare and everything in our sport, but you know, it's humbling to sit here with you guys and hear y'all exchange stories like that and you know, and still be great friends.
yeah, I mean, a few weeks back, he got in a wreck right off the start of a heat race, and man, it broke the spindle in half. It ruined the lower, ruined his shock, his upper, the whole left front basically.
Everything but the spring.
And lucky enough, they had a spindle and a hub complete. And I guess Bryce
Bryce
had
had
an upper. He had an upper, and I had a lower and a shock, and we got him back on the racetrack for the feature. And so just always trying to help each other out, you know.
For sure.
You know, and the other thing, and I'm going to say it, I know Pete is thinking it, but you know, what's the age we got right here with you three guys?
I'm 18.
18,
I'm 21.
21,
18.
18. You know, there's so many of you young guys around age 20 that are modified racing out here that are putting on great shows and race venues all across the state of Arkansas. I mean, I can't imagine if you guys and 4 or 5 others out there stay at this game, the level of competition that's going to be out there for 4 or 5 years. I mean, and
it's
y'all are
great
going to be a big part of it.
Yes, and it's great to see guys y'all this young out there competing with these guys that have been out there doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about all the time, like going to Little Rock and being able to run with guys like Randy Weaver and David Baser, and man, the list just goes on and on and on. And JT,
When you're sitting there, you know, they're putting your name in the same conversation with Randy Weaver and Cook and
You know, those two guys.
Those
I
guys
couldn't begin to add the number of races those two guys.
at this age, that shows, you know, that's a good accomplishment already.
Now you, I don't know about the year before, but I know this past year you came up and ran the race for Hope.
Yes, sir. That was a very experiencing and humbling week for me. I went up there. Always ran pretty decent at Batesville. It's I'm used to, I guess, Plummerville and I-30, and we jumped up to Batesville, and it's just a complete different track. It is. I mean, just so much momentum there. And we went in there, and I've always been, I think everybody kind of is. I mean, a whole lot better to tacky than slick. You got to learn to drive the slick. And we went up there, and I wasn't able to make practice night because I had to work. And
Your dad made you work?
Made me work.
can you believe that?
Guaranteed. And I ended up driving home, actually. I went, practice night was Tuesday, then you had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Now, he was at practice night.
He was there all week long.
I know.
Boss man can take off, but I mean, I guess
I'm beginning to see
see a little trend
the
here.
trend here. And you know, and I was going to brag on Donnie for making the race for Hope, making the A main, but now I'm beginning to see that maybe that there was a little strategy here.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. But we went up there, and like I said, he had practice night, and I think it was real tacky that night, real muddy. And he had his open motor in. He was one of like 4 or 5 open motors up there, him and Streamy and a couple others. But he was able to win his heat and absolutely run off with his heat race. He won it by over half a lap. And I got out there, and like we've been talking about, just the experience up there, and especially for the race for Hope, guys coming from all over the country. And I jumped off in there with a couple big guys in that race, and was very, very humbled when I'm sitting here next to, you know, Ricky Thornton. He was in my heat races up there and stuff like that. I mean, you just got such big names. But we went 7th to 2nd in that heat race that night, and I was like, man, we have a very good car and a very good chance at this. But I didn't say a good chance. Well, I did say that, but
well, not if Donnie's not letting you practice.
yeah, I guarantee. But I drew the 14 pill, and he drew the 7, and I started the row in front of Ashton Wilkie, and I won't ever forget what he said. But we went off in there, and I have this like trend I got going on. I like going fast on the first lap and not making the rest of the race. Either I'll go in there, spin out, or in this case, I went off into 1 and had a really, really good run coming out of 2. And I've always heard, don't touch the wall at Batesville. It ain't like I-30. well, I mean, I guess I had to test them, and I went up there and touched that wall and I didn't touch it. We'll say I climbed it like a monster truck, and I could have reached out the window and touched the ground. But it slowed me down for the rest of the week. It did. I wouldn't balls the wall no more, I'll tell you that, and it was.
And I think a lot of other drivers paid attention to that too.
They did too. Especially the ones that were standing right there, and I heard there was many people walk up and tell me they saw my transmission just like that, and it was broke everything on the right front, watered the Panhard bar up to about I think 8 inches or something like that. So I mean, I don't think that's no good, but it was just a bad deal there, and but Donnie ended up making the race that night. He's real timid with them. He doesn't want to. I mean, he's not scared to mess up his car, but he's timid. I feel like, and he went up there and he was like,
he's just always been particular with what with his program.
That's what I was talking to him about later that night. He ended up finishing 9th that night and making the show, which was very good, and especially with the crowd of guys up there. But he was in 4th or 5th, and them guys get to driving crazy on big shows like that. They do, and he was like, "Well, I was in a transfer spot. I don't want to." No reason to tear my car up. I said, you almost dropped out of that transfer spot there, son. And so he kind of realized that just a little bit, but he ran good. And the next 2 nights, it was a whole different racetrack. It was slick, top to bottom. And I was real scared coming off the corners, I'll say that. And we weren't near as fast, but that was just pure driver. And I mean, you got to learn. You do, 100%. And that was a very humbling experience. And I'll respect that wall a ton more now, I'll tell you that. But it was a very fun event. You get to, me and Tyson and Ashton Wilkie and Drake Finley all being able to go out and hang out after the races. That's just what it's all about. It's just a big family, you know. But
Heath has been
Tyson, you've been awful quiet now.
I have, yes. We went up there that week of the Hope, and my father had ran it the year before, and he was just kind of tweaking on the card a little bit too much, and he had to race with guys like Hunter Marriott and all them. And he was just out of it a little bit too long to jump off in there with them guys, but he made it work. And but that week that we were up there with Tanner, I remember that backstretch wall crashed very vividly. I was standing right there, and I saw the oil pan, the transmission, the rear end, the whole 9 yards of that car. As soon as he got off the track, the first thing we were going over there to do is look and see if there was anything we could fix on it, get him back out there, and making sure he was all good. And it's a very baseball's a very humbling place. You're going real fast. I remember the first night there, if your seat belts aren't tight there, you're going to tighten them up the next time you hit that racetrack. And the first day I went out there, and I knew it was going to be really fast, and I turned her around on the practice night, very first lap, and had a guy center me right in the front, and tore up a brand new nose piece and new bumper, and we went and put a new bumper on her and ran the rest of the night. And like Tanner was kind of saying, that'll chill you out a little bit, kind of make you timid. And the first actual night of racing, I remember going into turn 3, and I don't know how many of them have been at Batesville or raced there or not. And, but when you go into turn 3, you don't lift till about halfway through the corner, just to get the car pointed for the next straightaway, and you're right back in it. And I just remember going through the corner and felt like I was getting pulled out of the right side door of my car. It just felt like I was going to go flying out of that thing, because you're going so fast, pull so many G-forces, and it's a feeling that I'll never forget, and it's really fun. But we struggled a little bit that week. We got the car good for Friday night, and had Mr. Schoenfeld in there and Tanner Black and a couple of real big names, and we were running a transfer spot, and a caution came out, and we stacked back up and ended up falling 1 spot short, and just didn't quite have the skills that it needed to go up there and run with those guys, just because there's so much experience up there. And Ricky Thornton and Tom Barry and all those guys, they're another caliber of driver, and they definitely showed us how to race up there, and I learned a lot just watching those guys. But You know, it's just it's a lot of learning, and like you said, with Keaton coming out of go-karts and stuff like that, and you know, he kind of had that four-wheel experience, and even though go-karts are a little bit different than or a lot of bit different than a modified, but I came from motorcycles. I knew racing, but you know, those first couple times you hit the track in one of these things, you're a little scared for yourself. But you know, running with Keaton week in and week out, being in the shop with him helping us with setup stuff and kind of leading us in the right direction, showing us what's wrong on the car, it's really helped me a lot. And I'm getting to where I can run up front with a lot of those guys. I remember the topless night, we had a really good car, and I was running side by side with Randy Weaver in the heat race, and I don't think I've ever ran that close with somebody and not at least been rubbed, and Randy never touched me once. And he's the type of guy, he's going to run you hard, and he's going to run you real close, he's going to run you clean, and he's going to pressure you until you make a mistake. And he made me make that mistake, and he got past me, and I went up and talked to him about it afterwards, and he goes, you know, that was probably some of the most fun I've had out here. And, you know, that's Randy Weaver that I'm running with on my second year of modified racing. It's just very, it makes me feel good about where I'm at.
And that brings up an interesting point that I want to ask you young guys. When you're out there on the track and maybe under caution before the start of the race, and you look over and there's Curtis Cook and there's Randy Weaver, Peyton Taylor, Jeff Taylor, so what does it feel like when you're out there in that car, you're getting ready to go green, you're looking around, you're surrounded by these guys? What's it feel like inside?
Man, it's like, I don't know, my first few experiences like racing with Jeff, you draw for the heat race, draw the one pill, and he's like third row, and you're like, man, I got to run like 6 good ones, because about that 6th one, I know he's going to be there. So when you roll out there with those guys, you just, I don't know, you try and think there's somebody else, I guess. I really try and act like it's just another race.
Do you ever just sit there and go, wow, I'm out here with these guys?
Yeah, especially when, you know, I won a few weeks back and looking at the guys that were there, guys that I passed, and it's like, man, these guys that, you know, I just beat were like, they're, you know, top Arkansas IMCA mod racers. And
well, not just Arkansas, I mean, they're regional.
everywhere.
Nations.
Yeah, no doubt. They can go anywhere in the country and run up front, and I truly believe that. So racing with, going out there with guys like that, you know, it's humbling is a good word. I mean, that's a recurring word, but humbling is a good word.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I used to go out there, especially at Batesville. We started out at Batesville a lot, and once we started going up there, we were trying to get a bunch of laps for that Race for Hope. And I'd go up there, and where you sit at for your staging area is behind the big, or turn 3 and 4 wall. I used to sit there in the dark, and every time, I don't know why, but I'd somehow be next to the Jeff Taylor, the Wendell Wallace, the Mark Norris. I'd be sitting there, and if there was a camera pointed on me, it would be my hood or my visor flipped up, and I'd just be staring at them the whole time. That's all I did. And that's one thing I've learned. I've calmed myself down, and I'll sit there and try to go to sleep while I'm in stage area. Not really, but I'll just sit there and keep my head down and try not to think about who's in the race. I know there's good people behind me, or if I'm starting mid-pack, I know they're all around me. And so I sit there and try just not to worry about that, and they're racing on the same conditions I am, is what I try to put it as. And I mean, really know. I mean, you're like, wow. How is he going that fast in this car right now? But it's just like Keaton said, it's a very humbling experience.
And another thing, like, you got to have a good race car against those guys too. You know, they're going to have the top of the line equipment. They're going to be the top of the line driver. And, you know, if I didn't have, you know, Richard Lynch and Doug Babb helping me out, like, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at. I mean, those guys make sure they're running up to the track, looking to see what it's doing, running back, making adjustments, and really giving me a good race car where I can race against guys like that. So
you know what he's doing, don't you, Dave? Party left out. he's sitting over there in the stage area, and he's like, goodness gracious, I'm fixing to play on the track, and Bill Gilpin's fixing to say Tanner Barnhart. It's part of it. You know, he just didn't get into it, but I know that's what he was thinking.
I wish I could hear y'all up there sometimes.
So, in talking about the Race for Hope, is that something all three are going to try this year?
I'll be there for sure.
See about that, a chance at that $50,000?
I'll be there for sure. We'll run it.
I'm gonna be there. I don't know if I'm gonna be in the show.
Yeah. You know, it's the ultimate goal though. That one, at least, if we can't make that show, hopefully he continues to put on those shows, which we hope he does, to eventually be able to be one of those guys that are in that. And, you know, it's an accomplishment to be one of those 30 guys.
Right now, Mooney's sitting there watching, shaking his head and saying, no, that's not going to be an every year deal.
No. I was just going to say, from an insider perspective, you know, this will be a one-shot deal probably for a while.
Well, with me,
but we're glad he's doing it.
I want to go back to Boone, Iowa this year. That's an experience if nobody's ever done. Definitely check that off your bucket list. So mainly for me, it's expenses. Like if I can get my sponsors lined out and a place to stay and tires and fuel and that kind of stuff, I would love to run it. But just being in the right spot, really. So
that's another thing. Boone is. I went with him last year, and it was me and him for the first about 3 days, and that's a whole nother world. Up there.
I can't imagine
those guys.
Boone, Iowa.
Those guys.
By themselves.
It's a way of life for those guys up there.
Yeah.
And you know, our first night there, we ran the Prelude, and you know, it's very it's different. You got to drive your car differently. You got to adapt to the ways that those guys run, and it's hard to do when you're from out of town and you don't know that track and you've never seen it or been on it and stuff. And Keaton did a very good job at adapting to it.
Especially like, you know, racing against 90 cars your first time showing up there. Obviously there was 330 something that week, but my first ever laps on the track there was 90 cars, and I was like, okay, I just need to draw me a good number, and out of 300 pills I drew the 299.
Yeah.
So I started last in the last heat race, and against guys like that, when they take top 3 and you start 9th, it's like, man, it's almost impossible.
And there's something I want to add to that. In those races like Boone and in the Race for Hope, there's no easy heat race.
No.
You know, and I don't care if you draw the number 1 pill, you still got your work cut out because there's no easy.
Yeah, and you have to run 8 perfect, hard as you can laps, because you don't know who's back there, but you don't
want to see them.
It's so lined up, and like at Boone, you get in an accident, like it's a 1 caution rule. If you bring out the caution, you're off the racetrack. So I had a wreck in front of me, and I got crossed up and spun out, and I had to get it back going, or I was going to have to leave the racetrack. So it's just humbling. So
it's different, and it's, you know, just being able to crew on his car up there, it helped me a ton. I learned a lot, and I got to meet a lot of new people. We hung out with Ricky Thornton, and Keaton talked to Tim Ward for probably an hour and a half one night, and you know, we got to make friends with Johnny Sadoff's son, Jackson, and we keep in touch with them all the time. And Nicholas Carpenter.
Johnny was a great modified driver back in his time period.
Still is.
He's still.
But I mean, you know, he was the man back, you know, years ago. So.
Yeah, but it's just it's a whole other animal up there. And when we went up there, I don't know if we quite knew what we were getting ourselves into, but Keaton made the best of that opportunity, and he truly showed that, hey, we're here to play, and we're not here to mess around, and we're not going to just roll over and let you beat us. You know, and honestly, that was kind of that was the point, and I knew Keaton was going to be one of the hard guys to beat. You know, and he's now running top 3, top 5 every weekend out there. So he's got the skill set there, and he's a good driver. I mean, there's no way around it. But he's got it. And I think with the support he's got, he's going.
Where are we headed in 2021 with you, Tanner?
Well, let's before we get into the vision for the future, we got to thank New Vision Graphics up in
That's
Batesville,
true.
Arkansas.
That's true.
Bert Shaw for helping bring
For
this
helping us
portion of
do
the
what we
show.
do.
Go ahead, Tim.
What was your question again?
I said, what are we looking for in 2021 with Tanner?
First win. That's wherever it comes from. I mean, we're just going to try to hit as many tracks as we can. And like this weekend, it's going to be a good opportunity to race a couple different tracks. I don't know quite where we're going to get yet, but I've mainly ran Batesville, I-30, and Plummerville. I hadn't really ran any other tracks. And so we were wanting to travel a lot more, but with work and everything, we're just slam-packed busy this year, and especially this time. And so we hadn't been able to travel as much as we want. But we're going to probably hit up, like this weekend, we're going to hit Plummerville, and then maybe Legit. We hadn't really figured out our Saturday schedule yet. Maybe Legit, Diamond Park, I don't really know. And then Sunday, we'll be able to go up to the old number 1. That'll be my first race up there. And I've heard it's a really cool track, just a different outside berm. I've never been there. I've seen a couple videos, not many, but they say it's a really cool place. And so I want to get up there and have some fun at that track.
And they have a good program over there.
It's
So good race program.
And maybe it's one of those things, you talking about being busy and stuff, maybe it's one of those things that you can reverse it this year, make Donnie stay and work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe
see,
you can start racing. I mean, he's had his turn.
And at least we got time between now and the race for hope when we run on to Donnie to at least maybe get your practice night
Yes,
off.
sir. Yeah,
So,
yeah. We'll have to get on it for that one this
yeah,
year. But,
we're gonna get you practice night. I don't know exactly how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna work around his shenanigans
Yes, sir.
from last year.
Keaton, same question with you. What are we looking for in 2021 with you?
Honestly, just run as many races as we can. I'm fortunate enough to be leading the points at I-30 Speedway right now, so that'll obviously be my Saturday night racetrack first option. As far as Friday night goes, Texarkana, Batesville, and if anything in between, maybe slip away and get to Crowley's Ridge up there. Maybe up to Springfield, just wherever's racing really is where we're going to try to be. So maybe we can luck in and win the Arkansas State points for IMCA, or maybe I-30 Speedway Championship. That would be pretty cool. So that's my plans.
Tyson?
Honestly, I would like to have big expectations. I would like to win. That would be ideal, but I would like to be able to make Tech after the feature at I-30. I mean, that's an accomplishment in itself. I would hopefully like to make an A feature on a Race for Hope night with those guys and run with them. Just kind of get to run as many tracks as I can. Go to West Plains. We've been talking about that quite a bit, and hopefully make the trip up to Boone and just experience that. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I feel like you can't get better unless you run with faster guys. They're always going to make you stay true, and they're going to make you better overall. So I'd like to get some, hopefully, top 5s, top 3s at I-30, and make a good showing out at the Race for Hope, and hopefully make a run at Boone if it's at all possible. Just kind of get myself out there and get rolling, and just learn as much as I possibly can, and just really learning. I mean, that's what it's about right now for me.
And I said this first show, you're in very good company.
Oh, yeah.
You're in very good company here, and you've got great opportunities. So all of it. So. But,
And I'll say it's good to see these younger guys getting into and wanting to race, 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds.
and putting the effort in.
And putting the effort into it that they do to go out there and run and be competitive and work hard.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. I mean, you got to be out here almost every night of the week. If you're not, it'll show.
Right.
No doubt. So.
the old saying goes, and I know Doug believes in this, you win races right here in this shop.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
100%.
But, before we get away from here, and we thank the people again that help us travel around the state of Arkansas and speak to, race car drivers like you guys. I'd like to start down that end and have you young guys plug your sponsors.
Being new to all this, it's first and foremost, just my parents. My dad put me in this car, my mom being supportive, and Pro Signs and Graphics, that's my father's business. Keaton works with us. I work up there. Check us out. Your imagination's the limit. We can do whatever you want. KR Performance Fuels, he helps us out a lot in fuel and
Keeps you from bowling, but
yeah. My mom's business, Primary Residential Mortgage, and Performance Trailers MFG. Jeff Burrows over there, he's keeping our trailer on the road, and if we ever need anything, he's got it for us. So.
Keaton?
Oh boy, my dad, Anthony Atkinson, my grandparents, Dan and Paul, my mom, Cameron, Alyssa, my beautiful girlfriend, Devin, her brother, keeps me going, Richard Lynch and Doug Babb, turning wrenches on this thing every Friday and Saturday night, Barnhart Heat and Air, Linda Morrison Insurance, Freelance Plumbing, East End Towing, the Gear Factory, Crushing Tigers, Morgan Bagley, Mobag Suspension, C8 Motorsports, Mike's Automotive, Pro Signs and Graphics, Hoffman Race Cars, and Reliant Lawn Care. I got so many, man. It's I'm just very thankful for everybody that helps me out on this deal. So,
Tanner?
I don't have the easiest Keaton, but I can't turn around and look. But I can't thank enough of these people. Of course, Dad, he's out there every week with me, teaching me stuff and helping me on that car.
Making you work on practice night.
Yeah, exactly. Making me do the business. But I can't thank him enough. Mom, that she supports us left and right. It's unreal. We wouldn't have any of this stuff if it wasn't approved through her. But her, Barnhart Eaton Air Force. Let's see, Mike's Motors, he keeps us going, and our motor's 100% at all times. Then we got KR, Mr. Kevin. I can't tell you how much he's helped me and believed in me ever since I stepped in the car. I mean,
I left him off because he took all my bowling money last week. So.
You were ready for that one, weren't you? But no, XRG, they did a great job on my wrap this year. Can't thank third place at I-30 car show. That's pretty cool. But let's see, Lance Landers Automotive, golly, Integra Shocks, Shocks by Hammer. Let's see, who else is on that car? Golly. Huh? Who is that? I don't know who you're talking about.
And we were doing so good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my memory is terrible. But I just can't thank everybody that's on that car enough. I really can't. Just without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at and wouldn't have a car there. So.
Well, that's like I said, glad you guys, mentioned all these fine businesses and other folks that help you week in, week out. As we get to that, we want to thank Chambers Bank, 28 locations in Arkansas, some right here in Hot Springs. Kevin Rogers, although he hasn't taken Heath's bowling money yet, but that's probably coming with KR Performance Fuels. Skyway Buick GMC up in Joplin, Missouri. Are you passing out keys this week?
If Mooney wants me to, I think I will this week.
So if you buy a car from Skyway on the internet between now and Thursday, Heath will come with the Skyway Group and help present you the keys. True Grit Auction Company, Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer. Check their auctions out. If you are looking to buy something, they've got some great auctions going this week. Or if you're in need of having an auction, go with Arkansas's #1 online auctioneer, True Grit Auctions. We want to thank Weston Petroleum, Ecky's Parts and Accessories in North Little Rock, Eddie Hoyer over at 4Place Speed and Muffler Shop in Plummerville, our good friends up in Batesville, Arkansas, Shaw Race Cars, for everything that they do, not only for us, but for modified racing in Arkansas. And we also we can't leave off Caleb Emerson over at Straight Line Transmissions in Greenbrier, Arkansas. It's a top of the line service up there in Greenbrier. So Heath, what else you got for this week? Where are we going next week?
We're working on some stuff.
We're working on some
We're working
stuff.
on some.
You're gonna be secret again.
Yeah, we'll be secret again. We've got a couple things working. We've been talking with some guys.
Got some guys
that are.
folks,
Yeah.
So, like I said, tune in next week, and I'm sure that Heath will have a great show put together for next week, just like tonight. It's been a lot of fun,
It has
right?
been.
You know, with you guys, and we appreciate y'all letting us come down here to Hot Springs tonight, and we hope sometime that y'all have us back.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you guys reaching out and wanting to do this. I'm glad you guys came down.
Well, it's an honor, and I want to say this too, and Doug's sitting right over here. It's an honor to finally meet somebody that I've respected his craftsmanship over here, although he didn't know it. But you know, from about an hour away, I've always been a fan of Doug's work, and have known of him for many years, and I've always respected what he's done for the sport. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And so I guess that'll wrap up tonight's show. For our co-host down there, Heath Tate, our production manager, Aaron Gilkey, who's about to give us the sheep's hoof over there. We want to thank Tyson Keeney, Keaton Atkinson, Tanner Barnhart, and myself, Bill Gilkey, here for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine. And Donnie, we're sorry we beat up on you a little bit tonight, but we look forward to having you on the show sometime. So anyway, for Tuesday Night Tune-Up, I'm Bill Gilkey for Arkansas Motorsports Magazine, and we'll see you back next week from somewhere parts unknown in the state of Arkansas. Thank you.